Hello folks, I just kind of wanted to show you my 1993 Chevy Silverado Z71. It's got a 350 TBI. Purchased this over the summer. Was going to be a project truck for me and my youngest son. I had a 94 that I did a lot of work on, gave it to my oldest son for graduation. So we picked this up, got a good price for it. Body's in good shape, interior was in good shape. Previous owner just said he just put in a crate 350 engine from Jegs last year, and then the transmission was rebuilt in 2019. So fairly new engine and transmission. I knew there was going to need to be some front work done on it. They did a lift, but didn't change out any tie rods or lower ball joints or anything like that. So I did go ahead and replace some of that, but just want to do a quick walk around of what I've done outside. What the interior looks like, a couple things I did on the interior to spruce it up, and then some of the engine mods I did that I also did on my 94, which really helped the TBI run a little bit smoother and a little bit better. So some things on the outside, you know, the Chevrolet tag here wasn't there, it was gone. They had pulled it off. So it was easy to find that on LMC truck. A little pricey, but you know, it really sets that old square body back off. Got a couple little Z71 markings on it from Amazon. New LED lights all the way around, so my brake lights are LED. Let me turn on my parking lights so you can see them. But they're really sharp. As you see, LEDs are pretty nice. So these stay on as parking lamps, and then your turn signal brake lights go on in here. But really sharp. So I did LED all the way around. It came with resistors with them, but I ended up having to put the new turn signal relay flash, which solved the hyper flash all the way around. Got me a new toolbox, just came in yesterday, put that on there. And then did change out this light here. Even if your light's working good, it's good to replace this with an aftermarket, because this is a culprit for water leaking into the cab, because that dry routes out around. These are now rubber, so that won't dry rot out. So I would replace that if you haven't. Put in a new back window, so it's got a little tint to it. Nothing was wrong with the other window, but this just looked sharp, and it's a one slide. The other window had two panels that slid. Found these on Amazon too. I think these are pretty cool to replace the stock Silverado tags there. Thin blue line support of law enforcement. Then I went ahead and did some step bars, because it does have a lift on it, but in doing so, trying to remove these back two cab disintegrated. So they were pretty well rusted out. So I had my mechanic weld some new plates in there and weld in some new bolts, not bolts, but the nuts that are inside the cab. And we got that fixed, so those got put on. This did come with the tires. Not a huge fan of the big 20-inch, but it really does look good on the truck. So I left them, and there is a lot of pitting going on. Must have drove in the winter in some salt and didn't clean them, so we're thinking of replacing those when I get new tires. But here's to the front. Again, more LEDs. Turn signal on this side is the only thing that's not LED, but you got your LED turn signals there. I got LED high beams, low beams. Another Z71 here. Found that on the marketplace. This aftermarket bumper was put in. I did not put that in. Looks sharp. I did have to get a new air dam here. That was not with the truck. That was easy to find on Amazon or eBay, whatever your pick. Or you can go to a boneyard and yank one off. But let me go ahead and turn on my lights. And the LEDs look really sharp, especially at night. Really shows up. Now I'm going to show you what I did with these lights. So these lights I bought were LEDs. So these are your lows, these are your highs. And it also came with an LED kind of halo, half halo. I didn't want the full halo, because if you look on this side of the truck, when it's lit up, C for Chevy, right? So what I did is I actually, the instructions ask you to wire it into your parking lamp. I didn't. I actually wanted it to be on when I'm just driving the truck, so kind of like daylight running lights. So I just ran the power to the fuse box. Used a jumper and tied it into, let me take the key out, it's kind of annoying because the lights were on. So I just tied it in. I used these jumpers here, and this one is for what I'm going to talk about later is I used a jumper to have all 4 lights stay on when I turn on the high beams. And then this one here is what I use for the halos. So when I turn the car on, it's attached to anytime the ignition's on, and they'll come on. So I'll go ahead and turn the ignition on. I don't even have to start the truck. And you can see I got my daytime halos there. See, so a nice C comes out for Chevy. And then once I start the truck up, I'll come back around front and I'll show you how all 4 stay on when I hit the brights. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the interior. Like I said, really good shape, hard to find. A lot of times you get a lot of tearing, ripping, wear right here. People get in and out, in and out. Carpet's really good shape, I think, because they kept it, you know, max covered. I mean, only thing is a couple look like cigarette burns in the seats right here. Not a big deal breaker for me at all. Armrest, really good shape. I mean, a lot of these get torn up right in here from hitting the hinge. Excellent shape with the armrest. All the seat belts will work. Only thing with the door panel's in great shape. I made the mistake of taking mine off my old 94 and putting in new panels, because this was just so broken. And it wasn't until after I put in new panels on the other truck that I realized you can just buy the handles. So those of you who are doing a restoration or want to upgrade the interior, if this is the only part broke, keep this if it's in good shape. Just go buy these. So I bought driver's side and the passenger side handles because they were both a little loose. When you buy the handles, they do not come with the clips that push onto the back. So make sure you try to keep those. Or you can go to your local parts store, auto parts store, and get a little pack. The biggest improvement on this was the dash. Oh, and you see how with the input in my picture before, but this is just a dash overlay, so it just laid right over the cracked, worn dash. Doesn't cover up your speakers, so you can still access them. I know there's some out on the market that cover up the speaker, but you know, if you ever want to change your speaker, you'd have to take the whole thing off. So this is nice because it's cut out for the speakers. I already had the aftermarket radio, but the one they had here, the vents were broken, they didn't work. So I got a new one of this because it was also faded. Got the new vents and load springs there, so they work nice. And I did that on this side too. This one was all broken and cracked. All I did was just buy the vent, and the spring comes with it. Didn't come with it, so I just bought a pack of springs. As far as the interior, I mean, as you can see, everything's in really good shape. I mean, this isn't broken, it still works and is in good shape. This works, still in good shape. The biggest thing is that this breaks a lot, right? So I didn't have this was already in it, but it was blue. So they had replaced it because these springs do break off. And then the thing doesn't stay on. So actually I bought a can of paint that goes with this color trim, as you can see, and I just spray painted the blue one to match the rest of the trim. That was also an LMC truck purchase to match the interior. Now the glove box is operational. On my 94, that was the hardest part, was trying to find a new box, because this was actually all broken out on my 94. And there's the zoom. So I was glad that this one wasn't broken. Again, not cracked, not broken, good shape. Sometimes you have some of these are broken in here. And they're really hard to find unless you buy them brand new, and then they're pretty expensive. But I was able to find one on eBay that was the color of my other truck, which was gray, and then this one was in good shape. Now I meant to do this before I close this back up, and I didn't, so I'll explain. If somebody wants me to show them how to replace or add a jet chip to their ECM, I can come back through, just, you know, put a comment at the bottom saying, hey, how did you replace it? Because the biggest thing is you have to give them the 4 letters that are on your prom to get the right chip. Because I got the chip, it said it was for my model and make. It came, the truck ran great, and then it ran crappy, and then it ran great, and then it ran crappy. And I knew what it was because I did that on my 94. And so I just called the company, Jet Performance, directly and said, hey, this is my prom, here's my letters, I need the right chip. And they sent out the right chip and programmed it for that module. Okay, so but basically your ECM is right back here. Take out your glove box, ECM's right off here to the side. You actually just have their clips So there's no screws. It just has 2 nubs that go into the side and then 2 retaining clips. So all you gotta do is try to pull that off and then unplug it. Pull the ECM out, and you got 2 screws. The 2 screws, you take it out and you'll see your prom. I'll put a picture up here after in between this video, and you'll see the 4 letters. I think it was like BDJZ or something. That's what you got to give them to get the right chip. And the rest of it, Jet Performance part comes with instructions how to install it. But as far as the inside, that's it. Headliner was actually already done before I bought it. I just put in LED bulbs. So like I said, we found a really good truck. That's what I was looking for, was a project truck, but the interior and exterior wasn't all beat to crap. So we did that, and I think the bonus was we got a new engine and a rebuilt transmission. So I'm gonna go around here and lift up the hood and show you some of the improvements I did on the inside of the engine. In the engine bay, some of the things I did, like I said, he put in a new crate engine, but reused everything on top of the old engine. When I redid the engine in my 94, I mean, since the engine was out, I had no heat and I had no air conditioning. So I knew I was gutting pretty much most of the truck, because I was not going to put anything on the new engine that had anything to do with the old engine's cooling system, because it was rusty and muddy and heater core didn't work. So I pulled out the radiator, got a new radiator, evaporator for air conditioning, a whole new tube and everything. But on this one, air conditioning runs good, heat runs good, so I'm not worried about that. But I just kind of wanted to, you know, at least show that it had a new engine. So the first thing that I did is I came in here and I took off the big old clunky air box, which I did on my 94 also. And I put on an open air filter kit. Got the Spectre filter. It's just as good as K&N, yes, half the price. But some of the first mods I did for the TBI Performance, besides cleaning up the engine bay, I'm not fully clean with it yet. I want to kind of I got to kind of dry clean, I got to wet clean it and then dress it up. So I just put a new headliner in. The other one was falling apart, and this just kind of cleans it up, makes it look new again. Like I said, just wanted to clean up the engine bay a little bit, add a little bit of mods. Crate engine had the, you know, crate engine valve covers. I put some new valve covers on there, look a little sharper. Only thing is they should have double stamped these here, so you could turn it any configuration you want. So I ended up having to put my PVC on this side, my oil fill on this side, and because they only had 2 breathers, I had to put the actual air breather and not tie it back into the back of the I guess the TBI spacer or TBI hose. But replaced all my sensors. I replaced the map sensor, replaced the EGR sensor, replaced the EGR with AC Delco. Everything's AC Delco. Replaced the distributor cap, rotor, button, ignition coil, all AC Delco. So she runs good. Only other thing I did was ran some of these wire posts. Why they were gone, I don't know, but just kind of cleans it up, makes it look good. Also had to replace the power steering pressure line and inlet line, and replace the oil cooler lines. They were leaking pretty bad, but that stopped the leaks. Put in the TBI spacer down here. Completely rebuilt the carb, took it out, carb cleaned it, got a new rebuild kit, and I got new injectors too. Why they put the old carburetor on here and a new engine and didn't clean it is beyond me. Took off the big, heavy, bulky air filter system and just went with an open air system. But I see I cleaned everything. I put a 14 PSI spring in the fuel regulator. These stayed the same, obviously, because they're already wired into the harness, but put new injectors in. Runs really good, really good. Only thing I left to do is replace these headers. I'm gonna take these manifolds off and actually put on some headers I have, and then run true dual all the way out the back. I'll show that when I get to it. But as far as the engine upgrades for 1993 or 1988 to 1996 TBI, well, TBI stopped, I think, in 95, maybe 96. Just do your throttle body spacer, replace the sensors. If you can, get everything that's AC Delco. It runs good on AC Delco. Rebuild the carb, kit's easy. It's easy to rebuild, get it nice and clean. Maybe put a nice air filter on. You know, stick with AC Delco wires. I know they have some big mammoth ones, but go with how the engine was. Right now you've got shorties in there anticipating the headers, but normally you would have straight boots. I got my 90s. But then when the headers go in, that's good. I already have these because you're gonna need them. So just take the spark plugs that come with your crate, Jegs crate engine. It even says Jegs on the spark plugs, and they're not AC Delco. Just take them, throw them away, put in your AC Delcos. All right, I'm gonna fire this thing up. You see how she idles? Oh, I did want to mention, check your wires. You can find these online. I'm waiting on this one to come in. This is just really, really shot. And the post, it's kind of split. So I'm trying to replace that one. I already replaced the ground wire. Nice, good, thick wire. Easy to install, came quick. So think about those things. You can also find one of these. I've replaced this brand new on my other truck because, like I said, I did all the coolant and anything to do with the coolant. So I replaced this too, so I didn't have anything going back to a new radiator. But you can probably come in here and just clean it up. It does turn yellow over time. New one's white. Easy to switch out if you want. But all right, let's start her up, and you can see her idle at cold, which is really pretty good. And I'll show you some of the lights and everything that I did while she's running. So let's get her started up. Like I said, cold. It's like 9:30 in the morning here. So she's not gonna be warmed up or anything. You can see the temperature's cold. I didn't pre-run it to make it say, oh look, she runs so good. But see how well she idles? I mean, just smooth. Idle air control, I replaced idle air control, replaced the TPS, replaced all the sensors, replaced the coolant sensor. So let's come out here. Because the cooling sensor lets it know it's cold, so it adjusts the fuel. It was bad, like I said, AC Delco. So you see her running, no noises, no clicks, no clacks. All right, and one thing is that, see, daytime running lights. I got my halos running. So, like I said, running cold. And once I get those headers in there and I do my straight dual out back, so it's fine, I can bring you down here and show you what I did. So with the lift, with the suspension lift, I don't need the suspension lift. After replacing the steering gear, I replaced the idler arm down here, iron arm bracket, pitman arm, new, I guess, what is it? The steering link, new tie rods, inner outer sleeve. Upper ball joints were replaced with the upper arm when they did the suspension lift. Replaced the CV axles. Those are brand new. Only thing I left to do is I need to fix the parking brake because the cable is not working, it's broke. So I got that ready to do. And then I need to check my brakes. I had to get a new jack before I can do that. I didn't have a jack to lift it up, get the tires off, see what the brakes look like, and fix that. And then I'll be pretty much done mechanically with this, other than doing the exhaust. But with the suspension, I did put on, maybe you can see it. Where is it? Steering stabilizer. You can't see it there. Huh. But I know you can see it under here. So I put on the steering stabilizer by High Country. And don't mind the scratches. The scratches was because there was a cotter pin that was hanging down from the tie rod that was replaced and scratched it. But pretty easy install. I mean, you use the, if this will focus in, this is the factory for your skid plate, which I hadn't put back on. Comes with the bolt that goes in an empty hole right next to it. And then just simple bolt on there. You got your U-shaped bolts there to tie on to your link. And that's about it. I mean, it really was pretty simple. Stabilized the steering, just eliminated the oversteer. Replacing the steering box is what really helped it steer better because it was so worn out. This just kept it from the oversteer and feeling that sway going down the road. But overall, I mean, everything's in good shape under here. Nothing to too concerned about. Well, let's go back up here and I'll show you some of those headlights. How I hooked up. All right, so I'll put my parking lights on. Go ahead. Turn the lights on, Dave. Okay, so these are just your normal low beams, right? So go ahead and hit your high beams. There, see all 4 lights stay on, low beams and high beams. Okay, turn them off. Turn them all off. Okay, so all I did, really simple, is you get a relay, and actually they make these for these models. So there's my relay, right? So it already comes with the color-coded wires, right? And I went far back like this because I didn't want to run the power all the way to the alternator, all the way over here to the battery. So I just did, like I showed earlier with the halos, I just tied it right into the fuse block down by your knees. That's where I get the power to run the relay, and pulled out the lines for the low beam, high beam right here, as you can see. So they have these kits. You can get any module, but they already have the kits designed for these model trucks, and it comes with the green and the tan, and it taps into the factory green and the tan. It even comes with these clips right here. So easy, and you get your 4 headlights with high beams. All right, Dave. Now just turn the ignition to on, not on. Don't start the truck, just turn the ignition on. So that's where you see the halos. All right, now go ahead, start it up. All right, put the lights, turn the lights on. There you go. So there you go. There's your halo setup, LED setup, and then your 4 light headlight switch setup. And so yeah, so that's pretty much what we've done. All right, kill it. Like I said, there's not much left to do to it, but just enjoy it. I mean, maybe in the future get a paint job. It's already been repainted once, but there's some issues with it. There's some spots that are coming off, like you see right here, right? And then they have some down here, but not a biggie. But we definitely found what we were looking for a good price. We were finding a truck that we could work on together. And yeah, so if you have any questions, if you want me to show you how I did any of the mods to the engine or the modifications for the jet chip to add that to the ECM, just send a comment to me, send me a message, and I'll show you specifically how I did it. Same thing with the setup with the relay for the lights, or even the halos, because the halos, for them, like I said, they wanted to go to the parking lights. I just ran the wire through here, wrapped it in some of this blue cord to just kind of keep it looking neat, and tied it in right here. So there's my power coming in, and then grounded to the body, and that's all it was. Really simple. But as far as any of these mods, are pretty simple to do. The valve covers on this side, easy, in and out. Now on this side, came out easy going in. All I had to do was really take the bolts out of the compressor. I didn't have to take the compressor out. All I needed was literally about a 1/2 inch space. So I just lifted it up just a little bit, put the valve cover in, and then put the compressor back in. So that was an easy hiccup to overcome. All right, well, if you liked the video, send me a thumbs up. If you got questions on some of the mods and how to do it, just send me a message, and I'll walk you through it. Hope you enjoy. I just wanted to show the headlights at night. So these are my low beams, and then with that relay, when I hit my high beams, they all stay on and does such a better job lighting up the road. So easy modification. Have any questions on it, shoot me a comment, and I'll tell you where I got the relay and how you hook it up. All right, to finalize my video, I finally got my headers and exhaust done. So I had stainless steel headers put on, had custom exhaust pipes done, bought my own individual separate catalytic converters and a Flowmaster Super 10. I actually ended up running this true dual from the headers back. So we'll get down underneath and show you what it looks like up under there, and then I'll get her started, and then maybe I'll do a drive-by. Sounds good. So here, took it to a shop. They did a custom bend on the pipes, and then it came back to these two individual cat converters. I don't know if you can see with it being dark under here. And then both pipes come to the Flowmaster Super 10. And then I had them both go out the same side. As you can see, it's got a pretty cool stainless steel rolled tips. Right here, see. You see some of it here in the wheel well. Just kept it real simple and neat. Like I said, they custom bend. All right, well, I'm gonna start her up from the inside. You can hear it out, and then we'll do a drive-by. All right, here we go. I'm gonna start her up so you can hear what it sounds like on the inside of the cab. Not too bad. Nice little rumble underneath it. Let's go out here. See, she purrs like a kitten now that I did all that work and replaced the plugs, the wires, got the proper sensors put in. Nice rumble to it. I also want to point out I did end up replacing both battery cables. They were both in really bad shape. Ran the wire down up to the fuse box, and then I ran a new wire, this red one here, all the way to the alternator. So I got a really good charge. So it's got a nice little tone. Let's see, we do a little drive-by.
Three, two, one.